Hi, and thank you for joining me for today's process video. And today is another layout from the 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life Series 17. And today's sketch, day 11, has been provided by Liz Morales Santos. You can see it in the top left-hand corner there. So I've decided to pull out two photos from our trip to Jersey Zoo last summer. So I'm adding some mixed media to the background. You can see there I've pulled out two Distress Oxide inks, one in Mowed Lawn and one in, it's a new green one, a Rustic Wilderness, which is new to me. I wanted a green that was a little bit more subtle. That Mowed Lawn really is very bright. You can see there a lot of yellow tones, and these two work really nicely together. So I grabbed my large brayer and I'm just subtly adding that onto the background and then using a paintbrush to splatter the remaining ink over both sections of the paint there. So I've moved that to one side to dry, and now I'm going to map my photos just onto scrap white cardstock. So I printed these photos 4x6 and then trimmed them down to 4x4 per the sketch. And you're going to see how I go my own way with this sketch. It's a beautiful sketch, but again, not quite my usual style. So I'm just taking elements from it to create my own layout, and I'm thrilled with the overall effect at the end. And again, something that I probably wouldn't have done had I not had this sketch to provide me with a little bit of inspiration. So just finishing trimming out those photos. You can see I keep all scraps from when I've been using my electronic cutting system and things like that, so that I can use them to map my photos on, because I almost always map my photos onto white cardstock, so it's handy to have that. And because of all the greens in the photos, I've decided to pull out my Hadfield Groovy Darlin for this collection. So I'm just going to go through some of the scraps I've got and also some of the newer papers from the collection to create some lovely photo maps behind these photos. I'm choosing to distress the edges with my fingernails because I didn't want them to be too scuffed up. I did want to get that texture that you get when you rough up the edges with your fingernails. So I'm focusing in on the yellows and blues for this. I just thought they would work really nicely with the pictures. So the pictures, as I mentioned, are Jersey Zoo. We go to Herm in the Channel Islands every year. If you've been watching me for a while, you will have seen me scrapping those photos. And last year, as an add-on, we decided to go to Jersey for a few days. We've all been as a family, and I've taken Ross. I took him for his 50th birthday. We used to sail there when I was younger, but the kids hadn't been yet, so we thought it would be fun to go there for a couple of days, just as an add-on. So we got the Condor ferry from Guernsey down to Jersey, had a few days there, and then flew from Jersey back home. So the first thing that we wanted to see at the zoo was the orangutans, because they're just incredible. So we headed on down there. It was a beautiful sunny day, as you can see, in August, and it was just a picture of James and then one of Mum and Amelia while we were waiting for the man to do his talk. So continuing just to add those mats there. Just checking that I'm happy with the colours and the positioning while I wait for that background to dry. While I'm doing this, please also remember to check the description box down below to see the playlist. Everybody who's doing 30 Days of Sketches throughout the month adds their videos to that playlist, and then you can just go and watch to your heart's content. There are some wonderful creators, and it's really interesting to see how everybody interprets sketches. I know that sometimes I go quite a bit off-piste, but I'm not the only one, and it is fun to see the elements that people take from sketches and make it their own. So almost there now with the layering. I'm bringing in this lovely floral piece, and I think that's the end of it, actually. I might add one more piece. Yes, I add one more piece to that other mat. I just wanted to bring in a little bit more green. I adore the colours in this Groovy Darlin collection. Some of the symbols I'm not so certain about, but when you add them as mats like this, you don't really notice. So this green paper, for example, is full of peace signs. Not particularly my thing, but added as a mat behind a photo, you don't really notice them so much. It just brings in that lovely green and a little pop of the other accent colours there. So I'm just cutting out a square to add to this picture just to finish that off, and then I'll bring in my background. It's nearly dry at this stage, and I just blot up what's left with some kitchen towel because I'm a little bit impatient. It probably would look nicer if you left it to dry completely, because those pools really do show all the different colours if you leave it to dry naturally, but like I say, I'm very impatient, and most of it's being covered anyway, so it really didn't matter. So you can see I've, from the sketch, taken the 2 square photos and I'm offsetting them against each other. I am overlapping slightly more than they show in the sketch. I think I've printed them a bit bigger than the sketch, so that's the reason for overlapping. And now I'm bringing out my direction stamps because I wanted to bring some black into the background. This layout is predominantly going to be green and green tones, so the olivey, yellowy greens, and black. I'm also bringing in a little bit of the navy because James and Mum have both got blue that they're wearing, so I thought that would be fun. So I'm just using this long stamp to create a central point down the middle of the page, just using my black archival ink, just so that it doesn't bleed if I decide to add more texture and more water in the future. So now I've grabbed one of my washi tapes and I'm just laying that down to the left hand side of that stamping, and you can see I've brought in my ATG gun just to make sure that those strips are really well glued down onto the page, because there's mixed media underneath it, and because of the nature of washi tape it doesn't tend to stay stuck forever, so using some glue just helps that to happen. Otherwise it starts to peel up. So this is another one from my stash, and again just adding that glue to hold it in place. It's a beautiful thin strip with white stars on. It must have been from a collection, but I can't tell you which one. It could have been Jen Hadfield's Stardust, but really honestly I don't know at this point. So that's created a nice little layer down the centre of the page, and then I'm just going to bring in a different texture. So I've got some green wax twine and I'm just threading that from top to bottom to create one long stitch right the way down that black washi tape. And it's very subtle, but again it's just providing a different texture on that background. So just using some washi to screw that into place, and then I can start embellishing. So that's how my photos are going to sit, and I will glue those down shortly. In fact, I'm doing it now. And then I'm going to come in with some more stamps just to create those arrows that are in the sketch. So there are the 2 photos, and you can see they're both at an angle. I haven't got them straight today. And then I'm pulling out my These Moments stamp set from Hey Little Magpie, because it's got this lovely set of 3 chevron arrows. These are the medium-sized ones, and I really wanted to use that for the arrow element that's on the sketch. So I've come in with my chipped sapphire because I wanted, like I said, that navy blue to come in. So I'm just going to stamp that there, and then also at the top right. And I will outline those edges in black just to bring that black in a little bit more. So just making sure that the stamp is really well covered in ink, and then smushing that down. These stamps are Hey Little Magpie exclusives. They've all been designed by me, and you'll see a lot of them have a lot of arrows because I really do like arrows on stamps and stamping them onto my pages. So this is another set that I've got, which is called This Currently, and it has this set of 3 arrows, which the 3 smaller chevrons, which I'm going to overlap onto that blue chevron in black ink. So again, bringing in those arrow elements that you see on the sketch. And then once that's down, I shall pull in from the same set, that This Currently set. You can see in the top right hand corner of the stamp set there's a set of 3 arrows, and I shall bring those in as well. But for now I'm just outlining all those large chevrons, as I mentioned before, just using a black gel pen, and it just really makes them pop. It makes the edges nice and crisp. Also helps if you haven't stamped properly. These did stamp properly this time, but if they don't, it sort of hides any imperfections in your stamping. So here's that set of 3 arrows, as I said, from that This Currently set. So I'm just popping that down in a few different places. And then when that's down, I decided I just want some more mark making stamps really to complete that background. First of all, I'm adding my journaling. So just a tiny bit, just says first stop the orangutans. Just wanted to get that down there before I started covering the page with everything else. So I pop that down, and then I'm using my roller date stamp to add this date under that. And then here I am back with the direction stamp, and you can see on that there's a little set of I think it's that stamp. I'm doubting myself now, but on one of these stamps that I pulled out, there's a little set of hexagons, and like I say, they're just for mark making really, but I really like how they look, and I just wanted to add them to the bottom left and top right of the layout, just to bring in a little bit more black and finish that background off. So just peeling up that photo just so that I can get it tucked under, just adding one more stamp next to it. These work really nicely as a continual stamp. Just making sure that I get it the right way around so that the point is at the top of the hexagon. And there we go. So now that's done, I'm bringing out the ephemera pieces, the sticker book and the ephemera, and I'm starting with the sticker book. There's a really nice set of clear stickers in the sticker book, and they work perfectly to embellish around what I've already got. So first of all, I pull out this little cluster of 3 mustard yellow flowers, and then I find these toadstools, which I'm just going to add to that chevron, and then at the top there's another little cluster of flowers that I add. So again, just bringing things into 3 places for that nice cohesive look. So this sticker says remember, and I just thought that would be really nice on that photo. There's lots of blank space at the bottom there where you've got the moat in between you and the orangutans. So I just added that there, and then I've got these semicircle scallops, which I'm just going to add as like a scallop border behind that photo of Mum and Amelia. There's a little circular floral piece that I've added next to those chevrons on the left-hand side, and then I'm pulling out these. These are actually from Stardust, Jen Hadfield's previous collection, but the colours work perfectly with this Groovy Darlin, so I've just kept them in the same set there. So now this is the ephemera pack and also the papery pack, and I just wanted something else to add behind that tab that I've put at the top of James's photo. So I just pulled out this tag, but I cut the bottom half off because it was just going to be tucked behind the photo and it was getting in the way. So that's just tucked in behind there. And then I've used some green wax twine. It's the same wax twine that I used to add that long stitch down the centre of the page. And I'm just stapling that in place using my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher stapler. Any stapler would work for that, or you could use glue as well. So now I'm bringing in one of the flare badges that we've got in our forthcoming Tea Garden Nest Box kit. These were designed for that, but I really like the colour with these photos, so I wanted to add one of those to this. And then I'm going to pull out some other little bits and pieces. First of all, some black thread, just to add a bit of tangle thread behind that flare badge, and then once I've added it behind the flare badge, I'm also going to add it at the top of the photo of Mum and Amelia, just so that it's not just in one place and looks odd. If you add the same element in a couple of places, it just draws your eye around the page and gives a bit of continuity. So adding the place to that tag, I would normally add the date, but because I've added the date underneath my journaling, I decided to add that there. And then this spotty puffy heart is from the March embellishment kit from Hey Little Magpie. So I've just pulled up the bottom scallop because it was going to cover that, and added that further up, and then added that lovely puffy heart to the right of that photo there. I've got a little bits and pieces embroidered flower that's tucking in the left hand side there. I just love all these little bits that you can add to your page just to finish it off. And then this was a half Viewmaster reel that I had cut from craft cardstock. I'd used it in a previous layout, and I thought that would work really nicely to the left of James's face. Now here you can see, I realised when I finished the layout and stopped recording that it wasn't central, and I knew it was going to drive me insane. So I've just cut just over a half an inch off the right hand side so that it is central again, and then I'm going to mat it onto this mustard paper with all the butterflies on. I absolutely could have saved a lot of that paper, but this kit, I love it, but I'm starting to get bored of it, and I've created plenty of layouts with Groovy Darlin, so I decided just to stick the card straight onto that paper and not worry about cutting it. And there you have it. So I hope I provided some inspiration. I hope you've enjoyed this layout and I've not gone too far away from the main sketch. I shall see you again soon. Bye.